Hello and welcome back to your German teacher. Ich heiße Luzi and today we will talk about die Adjektivdeklination im Dativ, the declension of adjectives in the dative case. In case you haven't seen the first two videos about nominative and accusative, there's going to be a link down in the description below. Fangen wir an. Let's start with the adjective endings. As you can see here on this table, you have all the genus, genders, and we have the definite article in dative case, which you know already, and the adjective endings for definite articles are in masculine en, neuter en, feminine en, and plural also en. Indefinite articles, you know them as well in the dative case, and the adjective endings are as well en, en, and en. Very simple, right? As you can see here, the definite and the indefinite articles in the dative case, they change quite a bit. But the good news, the adjective endings are always the same. One exception is Nullartikel, and Nullartikel is this so-called zero article, meaning if there is no article at all. And there it's going to change in the dative case. More about Nullartikel later on in my bonus tip. Machen wir ein paar Beispiele. Let's do some examples. You want to hear a story? Let me tell you a story about this guy here. Das ist Alex. Und Alex war in seinem alten Job nicht glücklich. Alex war in seinem alten Job nicht glücklich. Job is masculine. Der Job seinem is a possessive article, behaves the same as a indefinite article. Therefore, you have to use this en for the adjective alt. And why is it dative? It's because of the preposition. In is in this case here a dative preposition. Now, why was he not happy in his job? Hat oft mit dem mühsamen Chef gestritten. Hat oft mit dem mühsamen Chef gestritten. Sich streiten mit jemandem heißt to argue with somebody. Mühsam is annoying, so he was fighting with his boss, with his annoying boss. Der Chef is maskulin, mit dem mühsamen, dem is a definite article, therefore the ending is en for the adjective mühsam. And why dative? Because the preposition mit always requires the dative case. Now, what do you do if you're not happy in your job? Hat einem guten Unternehmen seine Bewerbungsunterlagen geschickt. Hat einem guten Unternehmen seine Bewerbungsunterlagen geschickt. Unternehmen is neutrum. Das Unternehmen, einem is an indefinite article. Therefore, you have to use the adjective endings for indefinite and neuter, en for the adjective gut, guten Unternehmen. And why is it dative? Because the verb schicken requires Dativ und Akkusativ. Akkusativ, the direct object, which is in this case die Bewerbungsunterlagen, and the indirect object is in this case Unternehmen, which is in dative. Now, when you have a new job, you probably dream about a high salary. Hat von dem hohen Gehalt geträumt. Hat von dem hohen Gehalt geträumt. Gehalt ist neutrum, das Gehalt. Von dem ist definite. Hoch ist das Adjektiv. Therefore, en again, hohen Gehalt. Und warum ist es Dativ? Die Präposition von ist immer mit Dativ. And how it goes in life when you dream of something, it's not always going to become true. Also in Alex's case, it was not the salary he was expecting. Aber ist mit seiner neuen Stelle zufrieden. Ist mit seiner neuen Stelle zufrieden. Die Stelle is feminine, die Stelle is a position or job position, so he was happy in his new job. Warum Dativ? Wieder die Präposition mit ist immer mit Dativ. Ein Beispiel im Feminin. Vor der täglichen Arbeit liest er seine E-Mails. Vor der täglichen Arbeit liest er seine E-Mails. Arbeit ist feminin. Vor der definite article, täglich das Adjektiv, so you have to add en. Und vor ist dative, so you have to use the dative endings. Plural, Beispiele im Plural. Er telefoniert oft mit wichtigen Kunden. Er telefoniert oft mit wichtigen Kunden. Die Kunden ist Plural. Here in indefinite, there is no article. Wichtig ist das Adjektiv. You have to add en and it's dative because of the preposition mit. And the last example. Mit den netten Kollegen kommt er sehr gut aus. Mit den netten Kollegen kommt er sehr gut aus. Auskommen mit jemandem ist das Verb und auskommen mit jemandem heißt to get along with somebody. And in this case, he gets along with them well, also ist gut auskommen. Und Kollegen, die Kollegen, definite article, net das Adjektiv, so you have to add this en ending for the adjective. Bonus tip. I'm gonna give you 2 tips. Tip Nummer 1. You might have asked yourself already, what about if you have 2 adjectives or more? And the rule is pretty simple. If you have 2 or more adjectives, you have to change the endings. Then they all have the same declension. It's for all of them. So all the same declension, whatever, if you have 1, 2 or 3 or more adjectives. Zum Beispiel, ich lerne jeden Tag neue deutsche Wörter. Ich lerne jeden Tag neue deutsche Wörter. Here, an example in accusative, no article, plural, therefore you have to add this i. Oder er kauft oft einen teuren ausländischen Wein. Er kauft oft einen teuren ausländischen Wein. And an example in dative, sie redet mit der netten alten Nachbarin. Sie redet mit der netten alten Nachbarin. Nett und alt sind die Adjektive, mit ist die Präposition mit Dativ. Therefore, you have to add the endings en. That's what you just learned before. Tipp Nummer 2, Nullartikel. Now we come to this as promised before. Nullartikel thing. Null is 0, so this means there is no article. We have definite articles, indefinite articles, and we also have Nullartikel. Zum Beispiel, junger Student sucht Wohnung. Das ist ein Beispiel im Nominativ. Junger Student sucht Wohnung. Oder ein Akkusativbeispiel, morgens trinkt er heißen Kaffee. Morgens trinkt er heißen Kaffee. Oder ein Beispiel im Dativ, die Kette ist aus purem Gold. Die Kette ist aus purem Gold. Now, when you look at those 3 examples, then you can see there is no article at all in front of the adjective. So therefore, this is this so-called Nullartikel construction. Now, when do you use it? For example, in the first sentence, junger Student sucht Wohnung. This could be a advertisement, or it's often used in titles. If it has to be short and catchy, then we often use this Nullartikel construction. Junger Student sucht Wohnung. So even before Wohnung, there is no article. So if you want to make something very short and catchy and easy to understand, therefore you can use this Nullartikel construction. So you often see it in advertisement marketing and also in newspapers, in the titles of newspapers. Der zweite Satz, the second sentence, it's about drinks and food, and there you also often use Nullartikel construction. Zum Beispiel, anderes Beispiel, ich esse gern Pizza, kein Artikel. Oder ich trinke gern Cola, kein Artikel. Und der dritte Satz, die Kette ist aus purem Gold, this aus is this made of, and therefore if you have a material afterwards, we also usually drop this article, so we use this Nullartikel. Aus Holz, aus Metall, aus Aluminium. Now, when we look at this in a table, Adjektivendungen im Nominativ, Akkusativ und Dativ. Here you can see all the adjective endings for the three cases. We have the definite article endings and the indefinite article endings. Now, when we add this Nullartikel endings, you can see that in nominative and accusative, the Nullartikel has the same endings as the indefinite article. So again, Nullartikel declension has exactly the same endings as the indefinite article declension in nominative and accusative. But when you look at the dative case, there it changes. It changes in masculine, neuter, and feminine. And why is that? That's because of the strong and weak endings, because the system behind those adjective endings. If you have seen my previous videos about the adjective endings in nominative and accusative case, there I explain the whole system in the bonus tips. And there I say that you have to either have a strong ending in the article or in the adjective ending. And of course, if you don't have an article, if it's a Nullartikel declension, then you need this strong ending in the adjective. And therefore, in dative, you have this M, and R in the adjective endings for Nullartikel. And last but not least, die Adjektivdeklination im Genitiv. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. I hope you learned something. If you did so, thumbs up or leave me a comment, even better. And I hope to see you soon in one of our next videos. Bis zum nächsten Mal, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss und bye bye.